So instead of trying to give you all the details of the spill, which is an extensive amount of details, we're going to play a little 3-minute video that kind of gives you a timeline of where we were at 5 years before the spill to where we're at with another pipeline called Line 5 here in 2015. And then Michelle is going to give an account, and then I'm going to close this out.
It's 4 years, 9 months, and 2 days ago. My name is Michelle Barlond-Smith. I lived in Battle Creek, Michigan, which was one of the 5 cities impacted. I lived in a community of 80 families. And out of those 80 families, about 10 remain there. I've buried about 30 friends. I have 2 friends in the hospital right now. And it's hard to talk to a group in a short time period and explain what happens when you see a spill. So every night on this tour, I've been telling a different story. Maybe I told the story of one of my friends who died 2 years ago, who left behind a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old. Or maybe I tell you about a friend in Canada who lost a relative because of an oil spill. But tonight, I don't have a lot of time to tell you stories. But I can tell you this. This is a human rights issue. It doesn't matter what race you are, what religion you are, where you come from, social economics. This stuff is dangerous. We are talking about multiple chemical exposure. Now, I know someone, you are the doctor, student, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you know how many chemicals are in tar sands oils? You know what? No one does. And Enbridge's own doctor told me that. They figure it's about 10,000. Now, if I tried to light up a cigarette here, you guys would probably get offended. Because that has how many chemicals? Everyone's seen that commercial? 5,426. But the truth is, we don't know what these chemicals do to the human body. But I can tell you this, I haven't seen it do anything good. Most of my friends have at least one type of cancer. I have one friend that has 3 types of cancer. It's pretty unheard of if you're a medical student. So, why did I go on this tour? Because some crazy people have called me up and said, will you go on this tour? These people are nuts. But I thank you. I thank you both for inviting me. Yesterday, I stood on Enbridge's pipeline number 3. Literally stood up. And for the last 4 years, 9 months, and 2 days, I've been yelling about safety. Whether it is human safety, pipeline safety, community safety, it's about safety. And I'm standing on top of their pipeline. And it is exposed, and there is water, and there is rust. Oh, by the way, it was in Minnesota, wasn't it? Well, people, you're the next Kalamazoo. I don't say that lightly. I don't do it for fear. Because I don't live here. I moved 35 miles away from my community. Because they're still cleaning it 4 years, 9 months, 2 days later. So, when we ask you to stand up and resist this crap, think about it. Think about the Kalamazoo. And I thank you.
Hey everybody. I was born and raised in Plainville, Michigan. It's another small town along the Kalamazoo River. I live less than a football field away from it. And what's interesting is that I play on this river every day, and I actually really love this river. For the first year and a half after the spill, I didn't pay a lot of attention. And I didn't pay a lot of attention because our media and our state said Don't worry, we got it under control. If you go to Kalamazoo today, most of the people know there was an oil spill. They don't know that it had thousands of chemicals in it. A lot of them are getting sick, and they think it's just something that's happening. Maybe it's just because they're working too hard. They don't know. So I didn't follow the oil spill for a year and a half. After a year and a half, this guy pulled me out to the river, and he kept telling me to come and check it out. And mostly because I didn't really start out being an environmentalist, I wanted to solve it in my mind that this wasn't as bad as this guy was saying. And so I'm going to use this as an example that this is the river line right here. This is a river I grew up on all my life. And I wanted to step in the river. And what I thought I was doing was stepping in about 10 inches into water, maybe 6 or 7 inches off of the shore. And the first thing I learned about this company is that when they say that they cleaned oil off of the river, that meant they dumped a bunch of sand on it and they left it there. And what happens is that means it's really unsettled. So when you take a step, even if it's 6 inches, it works like quicksand. And it worked like quicksand out to me, and I sunk up to my waist. While my friends pulled me out, my leg was covered in black oil. And then I threw up for the next 3 days. And then about a month later, I got this little rash down here on my waist. And in 2 months, the little rash got a little bit bigger. And then I started taking antibiotics. I started looking at what I could do to kind of fix it, remediate it. I went to the hospital and they told me to wash it like I didn't know how to take a shower. And then 6 months later, it's here. A year, it's here. Now it's down into my leg and it's over here. In November, I found out that this is a rare, incurable orphan disease. It's called an orphan disease because it's only supposed to be present in 0.02% of the population. So that means there's no grant money to figure out exactly what you do to treat it. There's not any real science to understand how you fix it. And so you can't do anything like hold a company liable. But even though this is only supposed to be present in 0.02% of the population, I'm the 9th person I know to have it. The other 8 come from the trailer park that Michelle was in. And the reason that that's the only people we know is because the state didn't bother to help us with a health impact survey. That was all citizen journalism. That was Michelle that did that. And that's not the story that sucks. There's a lot of them. In 2012, the Michigan Department of Community Health said that this was safe for kids to swim and fish in. And a kid I've known since he was a baby, a kid that I changed diapers for, went swimming in this water, and he came out with a rash too. It wasn't like mine. A month after that, he got sick too. 6 months later, he was seeing a kidney and liver specialist. And at age 10, he was diagnosed with liver cancer. A 10-year-old kid. And that's what it's like there. That's what it's like when you get an oil spill. How many of you, I want to raise your hands, how many of you feel like this Public Utilities Commission stuff didn't work out? How many of you feel like you weren't represented? There's a lot of hands in there, huh? I want to give you another story. Also in 2012, I was part of the Occupy movement. And I went to our 1-year anniversary. And actually not trying to get arrested, I was walking down the street and did get arrested because apparently I was walking and blocking traffic by walking down the sidewalk. And it turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. I got thrown in the back of a van with these 4 other individuals who were wheelchair bound. They did intend to get arrested. It's called civil disobedience. Well, I went in there and we were zip tied and we were sitting in the back and they made sure to do them as tight as possible so that after the first 45 minutes, your hand starts burning. And I'm sitting here listening to this cop tell me how stupid I am and how ridiculous it is that we're getting arrested. And this lady in a wheelchair, with the power that she had in her, was able to stop a cop mid-sentence. And she said, "Don't tell them that." And then she ignored the police and she looked at us. And she said, do you know why this van you're sitting in is here? She said, because I went to jail for it. Do you know why there's a handicapped parking spot? Because we went to jail for it. Everything we ever had to fight for, we went to jail for. And then she said, it is their job, pointing at that cop. She said, it is their job to make you believe you can't. It is their job to make sure you believe it can't be done. It is your job to make sure you believe you can. The other part I want you guys to do is I want you to raise your hands with me right now. Make a fist. What this Public Utilities Commission, what this paper, what this control is that they give you is only words. It's only paper. They tell you they're in control. They tell you the laws won't work. They make you believe that because somebody has a lot of money, they have more power than you. Well, that power doesn't come from them. It's time for us to start looking at this another angle. You guys all tried the public utilities. I was here in April with you. So we're going to take something and start using it again. We've all heard this before. Say it with me. Power to the people.
Power to the people.
That's all right. That's all right. No. Hands back up. Hands back up. This is something we got to take the rust off of because this is where we're at. It's where you're at in Minnesota. You guys are the leaders of environmentalism, and that's great. You guys have done a lot of good things, but you got to recognize that they're responding to that and they're going to keep you down. One more time. Power to the people! Power to the people! Pretty good. Pretty. No, keep them up. No. This time, I want you to think about somebody you love. I want you to think like I have to think about this little kid that I have to live with every day. I want you to think about what happens when it's your kid. I want you to think about what it would happen if it's your brother, or if it's your sister, if it's your pet, if it's a place you always wanted to go to in high school. I want you to think about what you would do. How important is it for you to stop when you hear about climate change? What would you do for the next 7 generations? Mean it with everything you have in